So Starfield is launching for everyone today, and an enormous amount of people are about to start playing. So I'm here to help you through the trait selection during the character creation. So what are traits? When you create your character, you're offered a backstory, which differs slightly from traits, since backstories just give you 3 perks to start the game with. Then you have to select 3 traits. Each of these traits have their own unique advantages and disadvantages that you cannot obtain any other way. Some are significantly better than others, and some are almost useless. So let's take a look at the best traits to pick and how you should play if you do select them. So number 3 is the EMPATH. The EMPATH trait provides you with bonuses to combat effectiveness whenever you please your companion, but does the opposite when you displease them. Look, being honest, I don't think I've actually ever displeased my companion yet, so I've been able to proc EMPATH just by helping people, so it's really easy to trigger. The only time I wouldn't pick this trait is under 2 very specific circumstances. Number 1, you plan to play an extreme stealth character, so you probably would pass on having a companion since they start shooting enemies long before they see you. And number 2, you plan to go full-blown mass murderer, as your companion probably won't like that. EMPATH is a solid pick because other than those 2 scenarios, you're almost always going to have a companion. Seriously, I got my first companion and they've been following me since the start of the game. Number 2, we have EXTROVERT. EXTROVERT pairs perfectly with EMPATH, and EXTROVERT has you lose less oxygen when adventuring with human companions, but more when you're alone. The exploration aspect of Starfield is probably the slowest part of the game, so being able to use less oxygen and sprint for longer means you'll be able to travel around planets much easier. Again, the only time I wouldn't take this perk is if you're playing hardcore stealth and you plan to work alone. If that's the case, Introvert is the exact opposite of Extrovert. This will give you the same buffs while adventuring alone and the same debuff while adventuring with a human companion. The keyword being human. You can still adventure with a robot like Vasco and receive the same buffs. And coming in at number 1, we have the Wanted trait. The best trait in Starfield, in my opinion, is Wanted. Someone has put a bounty on your head and word has spread. Occasionally, armed mercenaries will show up and try to kill you, but being cornered gives you an edge, meaning when your health is low and in the red, you will deal extra damage. So when your health does go into the red, you'll deal some bonus damage to targets, but these mercenaries will show up and try to kill you every so often. But from how I see it, that's not a bad thing. Unless you get the worst timing of all when these guys show up, killing them will give you ammo, weapons, and armor to loot from them to sell. And even better, if they bring a ship, you might even be able to waltz on board and yoink yourself a free ship. Just make sure you pause your game if you're going to walk off, otherwise we could have a case of that horrible timing I mentioned before. And that's all for today's video. I hope you have enjoyed the first of many Starfield videos on my channel. If you did, make sure to leave a like or even a cheeky sub. If you want to connect with me, my Twitch, Twitter, and Discord are all in the description below. I'll see you next time, Explorer.